April 1945. The hills of San Lorenzo, Italy, are alive with the clash of battle as American forces engage the heavily defended Gothic Line. In this critical moment, Lieutenant Daniel Inouye and his platoon from the 442nd Infantry Regiment find themselves pinned down by intense machine gun fire emanating from a robust German bunker. Amidst the chaos, Inouye quickly takes command, signaling his men to push forward. They sprint across the open ground, dodging bursts of bullets that kick up mud around their boots. A bullet strikes Inouye in the stomach, but the pain only sharpens his focus. He presses on, leading his men with urgency toward the enemy positions. As they close in on the bunker, Inouye expertly handles his Tommy submachine gun, laying down a suppressing fire to cover their advance. He then successfully hurls 2 grenades, which explode with a deafening roar, silencing 2 of the machine gun nests that had been raining bullets upon them. With one nest still spewing gunfire, Inouye readies another grenade, pulling the pin as he braces to launch it toward the enemy. As he draws his arm back, an unseen German soldier a short distance away prepares his rifle grenade. The explosion erupts near Inouye just as he's about to throw his own grenade. The blast sends shockwaves through the ground, and amidst the chaos and rising dust, Inouye feels a searing pain. Time slows as he processes the gravity of the situation, realizing with a sinking feeling the horrifying and imminent danger that now lies next to him. As the 19th century gave way to the 20th, the United States and the Empire of Japan, both eager to expand their influence across Asia, found themselves on a collision course. Japan's ambitions to carve out an empire to rival those of Western powers clashed sharply with American strategic interests, especially after the U.S. acquired the Philippines. This growing tension set the stage for the tumultuous events that would soon unfold. Amidst this backdrop, Daniel Ken Inouye was born on September 7, 1924, in Honolulu, Hawaii, then a U.S. territory. The son of Hiyotaro, a Japanese immigrant, and Kame Imanaga, a second-generation Japanese-American, Daniel grew up acutely aware of the racial prejudices his family faced. His mother even lost her American citizenship upon marrying his father, a stark example of the era's discriminatory laws targeting Japanese immigrants and their families. Despite these challenges, Daniel's upbringing was steeped in values of compassion and service. His mother, a devout Christian, imparted a strong moral foundation, while his father taught him the importance of community assistance. These lessons inspired Daniel to volunteer for the Red Cross during his high school years, nurturing his ambition to one day become a surgeon. However, on the morning of December 7, 1941, as he prepared for church, the serene Sunday was shattered by the ominous sounds emanating from the radio. An announcer's voice, tense and hurried, broke the news of the Imperial Japanese Navy's surprise attack on Pearl Harbor. Daniel and his father listened in disbelief as reports of bombs falling on American ships and planes filled the airwaves. Both rushed outside their home to see if it was true. In an interview with the National World War II Museum, Daniel later recalled, quote, "We looked toward Pearl Harbor, and puff, all the smoke, and you could see puffs of the anti-aircraft shells exploding. And then, all of a sudden, 3 aircraft flew right over us. Green color with a red dot in the wing. I knew my life had changed." And it did. The 17-year-old student immediately rushed to the closest hospital to assist the sailors and civilians injured during the attack. In the aftermath of the bombings, Inouye later stated to the National Museum of the Army, quote, "To think that my future was now destroyed because of this stupid act on the part of the Japanese. These people who looked like me dropped those bombs and therefore had an impact on my future." This moment catapulted Inouye from aspirations of healing to the forefront of a world at war. Daniel Inouye, like many Japanese Americans, felt the sting of escalated discrimination when the U.S. declared war on Japan. Following his 1942 high school graduation, Daniel attempted to join the army to avenge Pearl Harbor, only to find the Japanese Americans were barred from serving, deemed enemy aliens, and stripped of their rights. Over 112,000 individuals of Japanese ancestry were forcibly relocated to internment camps across the nation. Yet, Daniel and his family avoided internment, a fate spared largely because the removal of Japanese Americans would have devastated Hawaii's economy due to their significant numbers within the population. Despite these challenges, Daniel remained determined to contribute to his country's fight, petitioning the government for the right to serve while beginning his pre-medical studies at the University of Hawaii. In a pivotal shift, by January 1943, the U.S. government reversed its stance, allowing Japanese Americans to enlist. Daniel immediately left medical school to join the newly formed 442nd Regimental Combat Team, an all-Nisei unit led by white officers. The 442nd, known for its motto, Go for Broke, was a complete combat unit comprising infantry battalions, artillery, engineers, and support companies, assembling about 10,000 men by the end of the war. Training began in earnest at Camp Shelby, Mississippi. Daniel quickly distinguished himself, earning a promotion to sergeant within a year. Despite their proven capabilities, the military's lingering mistrust meant that soldiers like Daniel were deployed exclusively to the European theater, unlike their Italian and German-American counterparts who fought across all fronts. Daniel and his regiment were set to face the Axis forces in Europe. As the Italian campaign neared its end, the 442nd Regimental Combat Team, including Daniel Inouye, arrived in Anzio, Italy on May 28, 1944. By early June, they were reinforcing the 100th Battalion, part of the 34th Infantry Division, near Rome. Their first significant battle occurred during the intense Battle of Belvedere in Suvereto, Tuscany, on June 26th. Here, amid the rolling hills and ancient vineyards, Daniel and his unit demonstrated remarkable courage and earned a Presidential Unit Citation for their valiant efforts. The battle commenced at dawn, with the Nisei soldiers skillfully navigating through the morning mist to flank a well-fortified German position. Their surprise attack initially caught the Germans off guard, but the enemy quickly retaliated with a heavy barrage. Many in the 442nd who were caught in the open suffered casualties under the intense German artillery fire. However, survivors like Inouye rallied, pressing forward and driving the enemy back in a series of sharp skirmishes that showcased their resolve and determination. The 442nd then moved on to their next major engagement in Cesena, pushing toward the strategic Arno River. Under the blistering sun, Daniel's leadership and sharpshooting prowess helped overcome the entrenched German defenses. His actions during the engagement earned him a promotion to sergeant. In September 1944, the 442nd was redeployed to the Vosges Mountains in France to undertake a critical mission, the rescue operation for the 1st Battalion of the 141st Infantry, part of the 36th Infantry Division, famously known as the Lost Battalion. Surrounded by German forces in the dense, mist-shrouded forest, the Lost Battalion was in dire straits. The 442nd faced entrenched German positions and engaged in some of the fiercest fighting of their campaign. The relentless combat led to over 800 casualties within the unit, marking it as one of their most costly battles. In the midst of a fierce firefight, a sudden sharp impact struck Daniel Inouye. For a moment, the battlefield noise seemed to mute, time slowed, and he braced for the worst. Miraculously, the bullet that should have dealt a fatal blow was instead deflected by $2 silver he carried in his chest pocket. The near-death experience left him with a profound sense of fortune and survival, prompting him to keep the coins as good luck charms. Throughout the arduous rescue operation, Inouye's leadership skills shone brightly. His ability to inspire and lead his men under such circumstances earned him a Bronze Star and a promotion to second lieutenant. Their gallantry and unwavering spirit in rescuing the besieged battalion solidified their reputation as an elite fighting force in the European theater. In the early months of 1945, the seasoned Nisei unit found themselves once more on the front lines, tasked with penetrating the Gothic Line in the Apennines, a robust series of fortifications masterminded by Field Marshal Kesselring and erected by the Todt organization. This defensive barrier, nestled amidst the rugged, steep terrain, bristled with entrenched artillery and machine gun nests, each positioned to deliver devastating blows to any advancing force. Lieutenant Daniel Inouye, unwavering and undeterred, led his men into battle near the quaint village of San Terenzo. It was a bitterly cold April morning when they approached a strategically vital enemy ridge. Armed with his trusty Tommy submachine gun and a belt of grenades, Inouye took his place at the vanguard of the assault. As his troops laid down a curtain of suppressive fire, he sprinted towards an enemy bunker. Amidst the adrenaline and chaos, a sudden realization dawned on Inouye. He had lost the lucky silver dollars that had once shielded him from an early demise. Yet, this loss did not shake his resolve. If anything, it steeled his determination to face the dangers ahead without the crutch of superstition. Bullets whizzed by as he charged, one finding its mark in his chest. But Inoue pressed on, lunging forward to the mouth of the bunker. With deft movements, he hurled 2 grenades inside, silencing the machine gun crews within. Rising from the earth, his figure etched against the smoke-filled backdrop, he fired burst after burst into the bunker, cutting down the enemy. In the heat of battle, as he readied another grenade, disaster struck. A German rifle grenade exploded nearby, severing his hand. Inoue, in a moment of excruciating clarity amidst this chaos, realized the grenade in his now missing hand was still live. With astonishing calm, he grasped the grenade with his remaining hand and hurled it into the bunker, neutralizing the immediate threat. Undaunted, he grabbed his Thompson again and continued the fight until a barrage of enemy fire struck his legs, knocking him into darkness. Regaining consciousness in the mud, Inoue's spirit remained unbroken. He steadfastly refused evacuation, choosing instead to command his unit until the Germans were finally defeated. It was only after the objective was secured, 9 harrowing hours later, that he allowed himself to be transported to a field hospital. There, despite dire predictions from the medical team and enduring a surgery performed without sedation, Inoue survived against all odds. Nevertheless, the severity of his injuries necessitated the amputation of his right arm, a bitter end to his dreams of a career in surgery. Daniel Inoue's exceptional bravery on the battlefield earned him the Distinguished Service Cross and a promotion to captain. This recognition was further solidified in 2000 when Inoue, along with 19 other Japanese Americans from the 442nd Regimental Combat Team, received the Medal of Honor for their wartime heroism. The 442nd itself secured a prominent place in military history as the most decorated unit for its size and duration of service. It received 8 Presidential Unit citations, and collectively, the Nisei soldiers amassed over 18,000 awards, demonstrating their profound dedication and loyalty to the United States, despite the discrimination they faced due to their ancestry. After his service, Inoue returned home and transitioned to a life of public service. He married and pursued higher education in law, economics, and government, which paved the way for a successful and impactful political career.